everyone, my name is Brittany. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be finally reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
It's Brittany, bitch.
So fun fact, I've actually received this book multiple times this year and I've kept putting it off. It is so much like Ninth House, it's not even funny, because for Ninth House, I repeatedly last year kept getting it from the library and then not reading it and then returning it and then requesting it again. And it's happened in this book multiple times, and I've also gone on audio multiple times. And every single time I read like 4 chapters in and I'm pretty bored. So I'm gonna give another final attempt. I'm actually gonna record it. If it's a DNF, it's a DNF. I don't know if it's gonna be that bad, but it's just kind of boring. And even the audiobook is kind of boring. And even when I speed it up, I just feel like it's boring and then I miss stuff. So, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is obviously very popular. V.E. Schwab is a fantastic author. I really loved her Vicious series. Well, I specifically loved Vicious. I didn't really love Vengeful that much. I think I gave it like 3 stars. It was like okay. But I loved her first book, Vicious, and I haven't really read anything else by her, and that's pretty much my experience with V.E. Schwab as an author. But I know she's really popular. I know she's a great writer from what I've read, so I'm hoping this one is a win. Sometimes it just takes a while to get into books, but I know a lot of people say this is kind of like Matt Haig's The Midnight Library, but like better. And I really didn't like love that book either, so I just don't know if I really care about the concept of this girl who basically made a deal with like the devil or something, and so no one will remember her ever again, but she got to like escape part of her life. But now like the curse is obviously no one will ever remember her again, and then somehow somebody remembers her name. That's all I really know. I have zero expectations, but at the same time I hope there's at least something in here, because I'm coming off of a pretty big reading slump and I just want something to jumpstart it, and I'm not sure if it's this, but I have to return it back to the library and I don't want to keep returning it. Like, it's towards the end of the year. I just need to fucking man up and read this shit. Like, it's one of the last books I have to read that's on my list for 2021, and I'm gonna fucking do it.
But it's so hard to get to you, 'cause when you see the sun, I see the moon, buckets of water, millions of...
I may have been a little naughty, and I finished this book without really consulting you, and I'm very sorry. The reason why is I feel like nothing really happened. I didn't know what to talk to you about. I mean, as I was expecting, this book is beautiful and flowery and poetic, which I'm sure is like a pro for a lot of people, but unfortunately, I feel like it just kind of covered up the lack of plot and the fact that like there was nothing really going on, and like everything was just being like overly described, which also added to the length of this book, which is basically 450 pages. As we know, Addie makes the deal with like this darkness that is older than our devil, and he basically saves her from an arranged marriage when she's 23 years old, and gives her what she wants, which is to like be free and live her life the way she wants. But basically he makes her instantly forgettable. So people forget her the moment they walk out of a room, which really sucks if you're like talking to somebody in a bar and you like literally walk out. They don't remember you. They go to the bathroom. They don't know who you are. That sucks. It sucks balls. I get it. But it also makes her immortal. So she lives forever, basically, until she decides she wants to hit it and quit it. This is such a great premise, by the way. Like, I love the premise of this. Like, it was such a cool idea and such a Faustian bargain. I love that. But it just wasn't executed in a way that I enjoyed. And unfortunately, this ended up being really repetitive and like lonely. And there's like seemingly very little character growth for a woman who's like over 300 years old. So much of this is shown in the past too, of like Addie and her past travels, but it's basically like her going from like city to city to city, and like the same thing happening over and over. I just feel like so much like cool history could have been like thrown in here for how long this is, or like her being like more involved as like a spy or something. Like, I feel like that would have been really cool, and it wasn't really involved. Like, most of this was about like her internal struggles and her romance with some guy named Henry, and it didn't hit. This didn't hit for me. It's probably my least favorite V.E. Schwab book. And it's frustrating because like I can see like what she was going for, but it's just like overly written. And if this was like half the size and written not like in a narrative poetry style, then this would have been a lot better. Like 100%. I think if you like really slow, hipstery, atmospheric, character-driven stories, that read like narrative poetry, you'll really enjoy this, because that's basically what it is. It's half the time it just feels like this was like poetry, like narrative poetry. Like, I don't know if you've ever read narrative poetry, but this is like dead ass. Half of this book is narrative poetry, and it doesn't really feel like a novel a lot of the time. And I just feel like it just was very overdone and overdrawn. I mean, a great concept, but really could have been this big. And I'm sure a lot of the repetitive nature was due to like the fact to show like Addie's lifelong agony of suffering and being immortal and always being forgotten and never being, she can't even write her own name. She can't do much of anything. She can't do anything to ever leave a mark. I'm sorry you didn't get a better reading vlog for this. I'm very sorry. I just honestly kept trying to get through it because I felt like if I stopped it all, I was going to DNF it, because it was just very slow and very long. And I got through like 6 hours of this on audio. And I think that's the only reason why I ended up finishing it today, which was earlier than expected, because I listened to it literally all day at work, because I was like, I'm going to finish this stupid book and just get it over with. And I really like the audiobook. It's, you know, produced by Julia Whalen, who's awesome, and she's a great audiobook narrator. And that's the reason I got through this, to be quite honest. And there's so many things I would have wished that were explored, and a lot of things that were overexplored that I didn't really care about. And it's just wasn't for me. Wasn't for me. It's not a terrible book, but I think I'm gonna give it like a 2.5 stars or something. I feel like I really enjoyed like the concept of this, but it just wasn't executed in a way that made this like a hit for me. If this was half as long, it was very concise, it was like V.E. Schwab's usual writing style, I would have probably given this 4 or 5 stars, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Thanks for dealing with me. And if there's anything else by V.E. Schwab you'd like me to read, let me know. I've read her Vicious series and this book, and that's pretty much it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time.